Hi everybody, welcome back. We're here at Tropical Nomad in the new room that we're trying to give a name. I'm going to call it the garden room, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be changed to something Balinese, which it should be. So as you know, 6:30 every Monday. This is episode number 180 something. And look, it's a beautiful thing. We've been going for almost 3 years. And it's okay, brother, it's going to be about a minute before I get to you. He's there like, when do I talk? When do I talk? When do I talk? When do I talk? So tonight we have Daniel Fernandez, who I'm going to introduce very shortly. But those of you who normally tune in, we have 3 streams a week, okay? Monday, which is 6:30 here at Tropical Nomad, that's live, so you can come and join us. And it's indoor, outdoor, so you get to breathe Mother Nature. It's not indoor air conditioning, okay, which is fantastic. Tuesday is Clubhouse, 7 a.m. Tomorrow we have the Black Panther. Black Panthers, like, remember the movement? The Black Panthers, this is real. Name is Armin Cooley. So I'll be interviewing him, which will be phenomenal. That one's called, it's about unity and equality. And then usually on Wednesday we have another one, but for some reason tomorrow we have like 3. One is Berwin Tanko, who is from Exeter community, which is a massive blockchain. And we also have Julian Ulig, who I pronounced terribly, but Julian is he is EX Venture Clean Tech. So it's a packed week, and we're really looking forward to it. So now tonight, if you're wondering about Amazon, if you're wondering about how to create a 7-figure agency from your bedroom when you were broke, then you've come to the right episode, because Daniel, that's what he did, right? And we met probably some time ago here at Tropical Nomad, but we never really spoke that much. And we had this one chat, and I just kind of knew that you have such a wonderful suite of insights to offer people that I don't think is obvious when the first time that people meet you. Your wife is here, so Nina knows all about these, I'm sure, but I think a lot of people don't. So I'm really looking forward to diving a bit deeper and getting to the crux of it. And for you at home, as you know, my name is Robert Ian Bonnick. I'm the executive producer and founder of SpeakuP Monday, and I'm in what we call an advisor. So I help businesses and inbound tourism initiatives, large ones, find their market by strategic partnerships. And in other words, I connect people. So, Brother Daniel, welcome to the show. Now you can speak.
Thanks for the warning about the intro.
I know. It's funny because sometimes when people come on, some people who are interviewed a lot, like they forget to put the microphone up, and others who are like, I don't know, when do I speak? The microphone's kind of going like this, like playing squash.
Yeah.
So listen, Daniel Fernandez. So I guess the first question that comes up, like for people who don't know, where are you from? Where's the family name? And where were you born? Yeah.
I was born in Lima, Peru. Lima the Grey, as it's called. And I grew up there. When I was a young adult, moved to the United States. And there's a lot of things in between.
We'll get to those. Don't worry, brother. We'll get to those.
Moved to Asia, China first. Lived there for a few years. And then pandemic begins, I came to Bali, and here I am.
Got it. So then look, the title of tonight's talk is about how to create a 7-figure, Amazon, a business that services Amazon, and how you're able to do that, from your bedroom, which, let's be honest, right? These days, like, I'm a little bit older than you. You can't tell from the gray hairs, right? So it was like, when I was growing up, it was more about, like you get out there and you do it, right? It's like you're an apprentice. You go out to work. There are different trades: electrician, builder, carpenter, and so on. Maybe a little bit before me, to be honest. And so you're out there working on the tools. And then, of course, we had this .com kind of explosion that literally imploded. But that set the tone, right? We knew that something was changing in the way that we work and the way that we derive an income. And then was things like Napster and all of these ones that were coming up, these incredible, technological advancements to make our life easier that at the same time became worth huge sums of money. So in effect, you could create something from your bedroom, right? So then, like what was, or which situation, like give us a bit of context, did you find yourself before creating this business from your bedroom? What was going on in your life?
Well, I was living in San Francisco, California. I had a good job at a tech company, Apple, and I was very unhappy. I was feeling very unchallenged on what I was doing. And I felt I was young, had a lot of energy, and just wanted to look for meaning, look for something that would, something difficult, something challenging, but those dreams that I had growing up, I felt it was a time to go after them.
Got it. So then what, like some people, right, the thing that strikes me immediately about you, the words that you use, because you're economical with words, I get that, and like, which means it's a good thing, right? A lot of people grow up wanting life to be easy, right? So I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but for a lot of people, it's like princess syndrome, right? We're conditioned to believe that I'm going to meet a handsome prince and I'm going to live happily ever after, right? So for some people, that's the background. And for others, it's like, I want to do as least as I can, right? And still have money coming in, which is perhaps misguided. But for you, you said you wanted something to challenge you and that you were bored and that you were unfulfilled. So then my question to you is like, where do you think that feeling of wanting more, of wanting to be challenged, where do you think it comes from, perhaps in your past or in your background?
Yeah, so I remember the moment I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I wanted to grow a business. I was living still in Peru. I think it was my last year of school. And I was preparing to take the test. It's called a TOEFL test. That is for non-native English speakers, so that they can go to a university in the United States. And I remember my dad had bought me books out of nowhere. He never did. Just one day, all of a sudden, came back home, bought me books. And at that time, I think I was 16, I didn't have goals. I didn't know, I was unaware that I could control my destiny. And, out of serendipity, my dad brought me Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I remember I was studying, I had class, and I just started reading that. I had never read a business book. And I started reading that, and I skipped my class, and I read most of the book in one sitting. And that was the moment I said, wow, is it, I can actually build a business, I can actually do something, and it's up to me. I mean, later I found out that it's up to many things, but at that point in life, I realized that, it's up to me. It's not up to the circumstances necessarily.
Love it. And, I think that's one thing that we, maybe we didn't, but I did the same.
My dad regretted, by the way.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. What is it? Rich Dad's Guide to Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, and all of those ones, the Kiyosaki. So I want to go back even further, right? Because, in a way, what's coming through, right, is that there are certain things that hit us when we're young. Maybe 0 to 8, that theta brainwave state. That me was growing up in kids' homes, right, for 18 years in London, and I had a different way of growing up, and it really, that time really shaped who I became, right? And then after I wanted to undo some of it. But anyway, so if you had to choose, sometime between 0 and 8, if there was, what sorts of things were going on for you, and was there anything that happened, not necessarily one moment, but maybe a series of moments that help you just, to see life differently? Because what I find is that people sitting where you are now, we think that it's this, but we don't realize that actually there were signs before that actually were like a tap on our shoulder. and later on we found out what it was. But so was there anything that comes up for you in that early years that could have had an impact into this person that you became of wanting to be challenged?
Yeah, I would say one thing. I'm the youngest brother. I have an older brother, and growing up is constant trying to. I'm never the strongest or the one that's doing the cool stuff. So that just created a sense of competition. Became, I think, competitive growing up. Doing sports, I play basketball, and it's amazing. When I have kids, I think sports is going to be something so important to share with them, because it taught me to be going from being awful at it, terrible at it, to just sticking to it, and then it takes years to reach a level of competency. So I think, but again, all of this was happening, but I was unaware of the inner workings of it, right? But now in business, I realized that is the same. It doesn't matter where you start from, as long as you start and you continue, you carry on at it. You continue trying to get better and better and better.
Yeah. And without knowing you really well, like, what a tremendous attribute, because as you said, it's that consistency of doing things that are uncomfortable, but being able to do it for an extended period of time, right? And that sounds like one of the keys to your success, is that you have this ability that you made, that you created, which was, again, it was kind of kicked off by you and your brother having this rivalry, and and you just have this ability to keep going, which is phenomenal, man.
Yeah, and it's difficult, and when I was playing basketball, I wanted to quit, and it really became just stick to it, keep doing better, work harder than the rest, and hopefully grow also. I'm born in December, where I went to school. The year is for kids from January to December, so I was the one that basically grew late, but when I did grow, I became tall in that team. So
I'm laughing because
patient isn't even then.
I'm laughing because there are some parallels, right? Kiyosaki, sport, basketball. For me, I didn't really believe I was that talented, actually, right? But the thing that I was able to do was to outwork most people. And I ended up playing basketball for England, and I had a chance to go to the States that I didn't end up taking, but I didn't really, I probably had some talent, but I didn't really think I was talented. But it was just work, just being there I was always the first to arrive and the last to leave. And funnily enough, here at Tropical Nomad, it's you, first to come, and everyone the last to leave. Just little things which are just, like joining the dots. How interesting. And sport being that way to help to alleviate and to get out that energy, and I find that sport is a bit of a microcosm for life. It's like it's like life is sport.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, far. So then your dad, felt guilty maybe of like, damn it, why did I give him that book? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Didn't finish. I'm guessing, did you finish college or the entrance exams to get to college?
I got admitted to a good school, and I dropped out. Basically, my dad was all against business at that point. Was no, you gotta get a degree, you gotta get a job, and just traditional. I think for that generation. Yeah. So that's why I say he regretted it. Yeah. Probably. I never asked, but I'm glad he did. It opened my eyes. Yeah,
and like that generational leap, right? That we just started off with somehow, so we follow the energy of it. Like how is that, if at all, like how has that impacted you? So, for example, you mentioned that your dad was that generation, right? Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, right? And you'll be safe because of the mortgage, not the mortgage, what do you call it? 401k in the US. Yeah. I guess we're in the US. There you go. Pension, right? Mm-hmm. We'll look after you till you're end of days, which we know is a flawed model. It doesn't work, especially now. So you worked at Google, so like as you moved ahead, because Amazon, for me, not so much now for some people, but it's a disruptor, right? So I'm trying to get now where that came from in you, this feeling for disruption, because that's what you did to your dad, which is probably why he was like pissed off in the beginning, right? Because you disrupted his status quo, his view of the world. So if I say to you disruptor, like what comes up for you when I mentioned that word?
I think it's against the grain is something that, and the best definition I heard of a billionaire is someone that is says that a lot of people are wrong about something, and him or her end up being right about it, right? So is innovating, trend-setting, is often not popular, I think, at first, but that's what it means to me.
Got it. It's almost like that, you know, what was that old saying, that the pioneers get the arrows and the early adopters inherit the pastures. So what it means is that, you know, as a pioneer, you're called crazy. It will never work. What are you, nuts? Go and get a good job. You know, like work your life out. Go and do this. And they get heat. But then once they create something, you know, then the early adopters are the ones who are coming next have got, oh, this is great, Apple devices.
Well, but it's also important to say that the success stories we hear are only the ones that succeeded, obviously, not the ones that gave up, right? So when it comes to risk taking, right, like most businesses fail, but we hear only the stories of the ones that did not fail or that just kept on trying, right? Like maybe their first business didn't work, which for me has been the case. I mean, of trying over and over and over again until finding something that works. So going back to the topic of just keeping on trying, showing up, not giving up.
Got it. So of these businesses that you mentioned that you had before, or these ideas, things you were trying, like how many were there, if you can remember? And when I ask you, like, what are some of the key things that you learnt from each one, what would they be?
So first one is sales. I started short after I got that book from my dad. I started selling products, started selling supplements where I grew up. And I was not very, let's call it business oriented, but I
sucked.
You know, I got my old suit, you know, as a kid. It doesn't fit, never fits well. And then just started trying. I remember calling all my school friends, moms and dads, trying to sell products that I was buying, you know, for like a wholesale price. And just getting rid of that fear, getting rid of insecurities about what others may think. A lot of my friends in school thought I was crazy, but you know, I learned how to sell, and then now that skill makes me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Got it. So that's one, the skill of selling, which you can learn, which you did, right? But through persistence, consistency, you learnt it, and that's what you start, and not caring what people think. Huge one, right? Which you learnt with that one. So what came after that? And what did you learn?
Yeah, so I would say did that for a few years. I've done a lot of weird stuff.
Give it.
One of them,
brother.
At one point in the U.S., I started buying and selling scrap gold and silver. And it was posting an ad on Craigslist and then setting appointments with people at Starbucks. They come in and then they show you some stuff they want to sell you. I was a buyer, and it's just weird people I met. So, but it showed me to and there's all the things I tried, but it was always trying, right? Always. Yeah. I remember, I forgot where I heard this, but it was when you're starting out, just say yes to everything. Yeah. Until you're so busy, you have to start saying no. So at that point, I started saying just yes to opportunities, and most of it, didn't work.
Got it. Like I've heard that saying before about saying yes to everything, but I've never heard the closing, right? Which is say yes to everything until you become so busy that you have to say no. So thank you for closing it off for me, because I didn't get that one before. So then, okay, so you got the sales and you got the other weird stuff that you mentioned where like you're an outlier, right? You're on the fringes and you're trying to learn stuff, and you kind of got over that, what people think of me, and I keep on going. So then what came next that you feel was significant in your journey?
Well, at that point, learning sales, started learning about personal development, reading some books, and started studying the successful entrepreneurs. One of them was Steve Jobs, and I, applied to Apple because of him. I didn't have any Apple products at that time, and he was still alive. Yeah. And I just thought, very matter of fact, I thought, well, if I'm gonna work at a company, I might as well join one where I really like the leader, and I can probably learn. Like even if 1% of what that person is about will, I'll absorb it. Then why not? And so that's how I started doing sales there, and it was an amazing experience as well. At the beginning, it was amazing. I felt I started growing within the company, and I reached a point where I couldn't grow any further. So
do you feel proud of what you've done and who you've become?
I'm proud of myself. I'm happy with what I've done. So it's I think a healthy mix of being proud and humble at the same time. Being also grateful, because people have helped me that appear out of nowhere, but I was also doing my part, just getting out there. So is I think a healthy mix.
So then a lot of times people ask you this one, right? But we'll give it a little bit of a twist. So what I'm interested to know, because there's often people which are maybe they're watching today, right? And they're thinking, I would love to create something, right? I'd love to be that person that I know I can be, right? People are doubting me. I'm doubting me too. But there's another part of me that is saying, well, you know what? You can do it. And, so the question I ask you is twofold. So one is, the second part of it is, what advice would you give them? Which is the second part. But the first part is, like, what was one of the darkest moments for you on this journey, and what did you learn about yourself?
Okay, so I was working at Apple. I was making, for my age, good money, living in San Francisco, single, was having a good time, and I decided to quit my job. And the reason was, I thought if I don't quit now, each year would be harder and harder and harder to quit the job, and so I did. And then from having healthy finances, I was living in a very expensive city, and I got deeply in debt. I got up to $60,000-$70,000 in debt, and those are very. We can talk about it, like in terms of what kind of debt it was. It was good debt. I was investing in figuring out a business to do, and that's how I started with Amazon. But it was very difficult. I many nights, crying and depressed. Didn't know, hadn't found a way out of that, and it's.
But what was it though, right? Because people are going through this now, I know for sure, right? Now COVID, all the rest of that. So, but what was it, do you think, that during that time when you were depressed, what kept you going? With the 60 grand involved, invested, what kept you going?
Well, a couple of things. One is I knew it was good debt. in terms of it was all on investing in myself and investing in a business. And the second thing was just being stubborn, like not giving up. There were small successes that I was like, man, like if this can just happen again and again, if I can grow this, maybe this will all work out. So I was watching the small feedback, that was positive feedback that I was getting, but it was nothing close to what I needed to be profitable.
And then if I ask you about spiritual stuff, right? And we'll get back to the second part of that question, which was, what advice would you give? We'll get back to that. But spiritual stuff. So if I asked you, like, during that time, maybe as you were born and as you grew up, like, was there any kind of spiritual practice that you either practiced then, changed to something else, or practice now? Whatever that means to you.
Yeah, I grew up Christian and believing in God, and I always felt to this day that there are forces that are conspiring to help us, and whether I can prove it or not, that's a separate conversation. But so yeah, it's when nothing is working, that's pretty much the only thing. Yeah. Just to believe that some people believe in karma, believe that you're just putting so much input into making things work that at some point something you're gonna get some output. Something is it's gonna be your lucky day, so to speak. And it is beautiful when it happens.
Yeah. So then, what was your lucky day?
Well,
luckiest day. So
let me talk about part of that debt was $36,000 a year mastermind that I joined for online marketers. That was in San Diego, a few years, during that time. And I don't know why I did it. I just felt I trusted the person that was putting it together. He had also a good track record. And I just joined and I shared. I had already started selling on Amazon myself, and I had some success, just not enough money to, grow the business because it's a capital-intense business. And I started sharing this, and someone in that mastermind, a lady that had already exited a couple of businesses, say, "Hey, I want to hire you. I want you to help me with the stuff that you were saying." And I just couldn't believe it. But I couldn't believe it for a moment, but then immediately I was like, okay, let's
get on.
Like, what's your email or something?
Come on!
Yeah, like I won't believe it later, but right now let me take on your details.
Well, are you still in touch with her?
Yeah. I mean, not so much, but we'd love to probably reach out to her sometime soon. Yeah.
Yeah, and like before we get into the Amazon journey and what people can learn and all that stuff, so like, how's your relationship with your brother, elder brother, your parents? Are they still back there, or are they here? They in the US? Where are they, and what's the relationship?
Yeah, all over the place. Dad's in Peru, mom is in the US, brother is in the US, and I think it's good. Our relationship is good. It can always be better. Yeah. Is the moment I made the conscious choice of doing what I do today, which requires a lot of my time. But when I have opportunities, I do like to spend time with them. Yeah. Reach out, spend time with them. Yeah.
And I heard, hopefully I'm not pushing any big buttons here, but you said you like to have kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kids are great. Yes.
What's the attraction?
Well, I think the is talking about challenges at the beginning. That's, I think, another challenge. Like, is probably easy to just have kids and then not raise amazing kids compared to actually raising amazing kids. And I think the world needs the future generation needs to be led. There is I think too many nothing against them, but I think it's harder when there is not a dad or a mom in the household, and also, with the pandemic, I think a lot of kids are not knowing what's the future going to be like. So,
well, brother, I think I've known you for a short period of time, but that persistence and consistency, willingness to learn, right? Willingness to say yes until you're too busy, or you have to say no, I think are incredible traits to pass on to anyone. I mean, I have 2 kids, doesn't really matter because all kids are different. Ichi's got 3, there's a few other here, people who've got some. But this is the last thing I'll quickly say, because I cannot give any advice on people with their kids, even though I have 2, because I know kids are so different. But the one thing I was told that fascinated me, and it still does to this day, is that there's this lady called Dr. Shivali, right? So Shivali, she's a PhD, Indian lady, eminent scholar, beautiful woman, has kids obviously. So she's Indian background. So she has this thing of it's called conscious parenting. And what it is that, and I promise, by the way, we will get to Amazon in a second. I know you guys don't know about the 7 figures. How do I do it? We're going to get to that. But what it is that, so with the Western world, for her, it's like my kid will be an extension of me, right? If your kid starts kicking the ball, my kid's going to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo. If this kid starts to hit like a golf ball, the next Tiger Woods without that, right? If my kid picks up a basketball, it's going to be the next Michael Jordan. So it's an extension of the ego, the egoic self. So now let's turn this on its head. When it comes to the Indian and what she refers to as the Eastern way of seeing this, it's like I am a custodian of this being which comes into the world. And the purpose is what this being is here to teach me, not the other way around. So the Western egoic is like, I'm here to teach my kid's going to become the things I didn't have. Eastern is like, I'm a custodian, and this being is here to teach me things. And anyone who has kids will know that comes through pain some of the time, where you're at your wit's end, and it's like this pushing the same button, you're like, ah! But in those moments, there's something there for you to learn about yourself. And by learning these moments and by imbibing these, you become a greater part of you, like your greatest self. That's the idea. Practice can be a bit tricky. So let's get to Amazon. So 7 figures, service business, Amazon. So there's probably people here saying, okay, what is it? How do I do it? How did you do it? And how can I master it in the shortest period of time? So any one of those questions that you feel like taking first, it's up to you.
Yeah, so let me share how it went for me.
Yeah.
I quit my job. I started different online businesses. One of them was Amazon. I didn't have much money. I was living in an expensive city, just racking up credit card debt. Also investing in this mastermind that I mentioned it. And so what happened was I also launched an Amazon business myself, and it did really well at the beginning. And then I ran out of stock. And then for the people that do Amazon, that's a common problem, right? And inventory is capital. And then I looked at my finances back then, and I was like, the thing I don't have is capital. So I decided, in a little bit of a moment of in between being out of stock, I go to this mastermind. Somebody offers to pay me for what I had already knowledge of, and so that's when I decided, well, I need cash flow right now, and I'm already having more success than other people, so I'm going to start selling that knowledge, and that's how my agency was funded, and it hasn't, since day one, it hasn't changed. So is working with creators, working with brands on helping them grow on Amazon.
And there's some people probably asking, well, how do I start an agency, right? So you've given us the surface view, which is great. But let's go deeper, right? So then how do you start an agency, and what mindset or being do you think that you need to have to make a success of it?
Okay, well, I want to say first, at the beginning, there's a difference between being an agency and being a freelancer. At the beginning, I was a freelancer, and that's when you're doing the work yourself. Later, as I grew, became an agency where there is people that are actually doing the work, and I'm also doing work, just it's in a different capacity and strategy and other things. So, but anyway, just back to that moment. First question I had is can I sell the knowledge I have? By coincidence, the answer was yes. This person offered to pay me. The second question I had was, can I get paid to learn or to get better at what I do? And it's a very obvious question, but when it clicked, then I said, well, I can sell. I started selling this, and I thought, I'm going to keep the money they're going to pay me. In case I'm not able to do it well, I'll just say, hey, here's your money back. And that's how I started, and it worked out well. And not saying that everybody should do that. It worked for me. That pressure of not knowing how to do something, getting paid, and then to figure it out was a strong motivator to make me do it.
What are the biggest, people are just starting, right? So I'm just starting, I'm a freelancer, I'm getting my head around the different algorithms and how to find, how to source, and we'll get into that in a minute actually. So what are some of the biggest pitfalls and how can I avoid them?
Easy question.
Good. Of course, man. Only easy questions here.
Yeah, I would say one of them is hire help sooner.
Okay.
I could have grown faster. Also, I want to share that I work with a lot of Amazon sellers, a lot of brands on Amazon, and I've been fortunate to see. I've been doing this now for 6 years, and I still have clients from the very beginning, and I've been fortunate to see which of those clients today maybe they grew 200%. Versus the ones that have grown 10,000%. I literally have 3 clients that have made it to the Fortune 500 fastest growing companies list.
Nice.
And I know what they did, and I also have the other ones that have grown, but not at the same rate. And one of the things that they did was they just started hiring people, and they started delegating or giving. It's a cat out there. Just
I love doing this special. Like, what the hell? Everyone, by the way, who works here at Tropical Nomad knows that all animals are basically welcome, right? Which predominantly are dogs and cats. And like every now and again, you get this thing that goes on where either the cats are fighting. Anyway, so that's what just happened. By the way, everyone's like, but it's normal here. It's okay.
So back to what I was sharing, the clients, the brands that grew that much is because they started growing teams. Yeah. And I look at my own company and it's like I could have done this faster, sooner. So that's one pitfall. And what was the rest of your question?
Well, here's the thing. So, which I didn't tell you in the beginning, not on purpose, but hey, it's how it rolls. This whole thing is about this. Inspiration is caught, not taught. Right? So inspiration is caught, not taught. What does that mean? So the questions that I ask you, it's not necessarily about you answering the question. It's about what's being triggered as a result of me asking the question. So you don't even have to worry about what else was there. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. What's coming out is gold, by the way. So thank you very much. The next question that comes up, that was there before, is, like you spoke about being very successful with 3 companies, made it to the Fortune 500, the fastest growing company list. Now,
it's not all because of us, just to be clear, but...
Listen, man, no, it's all because of you, man, be quiet. So, that was me putting words in his mouth, if you're a client. Here's the thing, right? So, of what you can give, so what is that secret sauce?
I would say a lot of people that are watching probably starting out, maybe young, maybe didn't go to college, or maybe in college but unhappy. I would say one good question to ask yourself is, can I get paid to learn a skill? You need a skill. Everybody needs a skill. Like, that's where income comes from. Yeah. So can you get paid to learn a skill? And I would say that is not what necessarily happens in college. Like, you're paying to learn. And a lot of times, arguably, you're not learning really. And later when you join a company, you're getting paid and you're also learning. But I think it's delays too much the process. Yeah. So I would say that's one thing. And another thing that has worked for me is hard work. Hard work works. Yes, there is smart work, but
doesn't beat hard work. If
you put them together, then that's the ultimate, right? Like, that's I outwork my competition, and I just simply, and I love how Elon Musk puts it together. Like, if you work 80 hours a week, you're getting double the output of somebody working 40 hours a week. And I love it because I don't think my competition is doing it, and I'm coming for them. I mean, in a good way, but
I got it.
Yeah.
I got you, brother. So then, people starting, right? You mentioned people probably watching this starting, So what 3 things, I know there's more, but 3 things that come into your mind, would you advise them? This is probably more technical. It might be sourcing, it might be. So what 3 things would you say they need to have down pat or learn as quickly as possible to be successful, firstly as a freelancer and then as an agency?
So as a freelancer is probably what I shared before. If you know more than the majority,
you're in. That's one.
You're in. Then get paid to learn, get paid to improve your craft. And sometimes you may have to sell a project you don't know how to do yet. And in fact, I have a good friend that's a software developer. He told me he's never taken a project he knew already how to do it. But that's where growth has happened. So I would say that's the second one. And then a third one is be in it for the long run. Yeah. And I'll share some quick story. Friend of mine, very, very good friend of mine, when I started my company, I told him, hey, you want to do this with me? And he said, no. 3 years later, hey, things are going better. Do you want to do this with me? He said, no. And, he has done multiple jobs, multiple businesses, and he's successful in his own way. But I don't see consistency. He's still trying to figure out what the big move is, right? And what I'm trying to say is I've been consistent. I just since then, I stuck to one thing and continue to do it without interruption.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And then as an agency, I know it's like, I'm not going to give away what's made me successful. just a few things, if you can.
Yeah. No, as an agency is something technical is you gotta document everything you do. There is no product. Your product is a process, so you have to start documenting. And if you do it from day one, it's easier, right? Instead of day 500, you're like, well, what about all the things that we do? Let's start writing them down now. Is too late. It's already a lot of work. Another thing is, and this is what happened to me, is Amazon was and is an up and coming trend. The selling on Amazon, selling through FBA, and I rode that wave. And that wave, I think, is still good, but it may not be good forever, and there'll be other waves. So combining hard work with an up-and-coming trend is another thing. If we start talking about opening a restaurant, like, yes, you can be successful at it, but there's not that extra force that's pushing it. Can push you towards success.
And we spoke about trends before, so in the back of my mind I got a thought. We spoke about trends before, right? So, and I know that you're single focused, solitary minded focus. If you weren't doing Amazon, right, what do you think you'd be doing now? And in the future, what trends would you be looking at if you just came in now and it's like, I don't want to do Amazon, I want to do something else?
Let me answer in the other order.
Yeah, whichever order.
So if I wasn't doing Amazon, I would do Walmart. Right now, Walmart is a new platform. They are being somewhat user-friendly, but they don't have enough market share. Yeah. So that's a great opportunity for someone to start as a freelancer or as an agency. We are doing it, and we're doing it quite well. Yeah. But still, it's I would say an open opportunity. Yeah. And then if I wasn't doing Amazon, I would probably still be doing something related to the internet, because that's what allows us to be here, monetizing something around the world. We don't have to be in the business district in London or in the US, New York or whatever. We can just be here. So the internet is a beautiful thing that I would probably take advantage of.
And firstly, mate, I just want to say, we're not over, but thank you for doing this, because for those of you at home, it's funny because you didn't actually do this, but most people do. And they say, what are we going to talk about? And I say, everything. What should I prepare? And I say, nothing. But it's not easy sometimes to have those sorts of conversations where you're kind of wondering, all right, what question's going to come next, right? I don't know what question's going to come next. But you're doing extremely well, right? Because again, what this is about is it's about revealing the person beneath whatever there is. And we've had, the co-founder of huge companies, right? Which we know already. I won't mention them now, but all sorts of different people in all sorts of different areas. But I just want to acknowledge you, right? Because it's not the easiest thing to be sat here with all the lights on, people looking at you, cameras. You're like, oh, what am I saying? But so just want to give you that respect. So
thanks.
You're welcome, brother. Worldview. So if I ask you, right, what is your worldview? Because we're here again, Tropical Nomad. I don't know how many times I've dropped that name, Ichi. Maybe I can drop it again. Tropical Nomad, Canggu, great place to work. So here it is. Here we have some incredible people from all over the world. I won't mention any names, but I'm looking at you, my brother. Yes, I'm looking at a few other brothers and sisters here from all different parts of the world, right? All linked up in this community that we might call digital nomads, we might call remote working, we might call something else. Right? And it's interesting because having different conversations with different people here at different times, you can see and you can hear and you can feel the different worldviews that people actually have. Some are similar, some are very different. There's no right and wrong here. It's just what it is, what it is. So then if I ask you, what would Daniel's worldview be now? And has that changed from growing up Peru, Lima, US, and so on?
I would say the main thing is taking self-responsibility in terms of building up skills, making an income. Like right now, we all need to contribute. And the best way to contribute is to not be the person in need, right? To take care of your own life and your own family. So right now, I think too many people perhaps are they want to be taken care of by a government, by a body, an institution, and others are flipping the bill. So I think that is destructive phenomena that's perhaps happening now more than ever. So taking care of your own life, and then once you do, maybe try to take care of the lives of others if you can, or at least support them. So that's my take on the worldview.
Cool. And then, like, looking forwards, and this is not that, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's not that question, all right? Looking forwards, like, what kind of world would you like to see? And in some ways, is there anything that you like to contribute to it differently to what you're doing now? And what would that look like if the answer is yes? So what kind of world would you like to see? And then your contribution to it, you know, like, what do you see? Now, I'm going to give you more time to answer that question. So my brother who's sitting over there eating some food, I won't mention his name. Yes, you, my brother, right? So we've spoken about certain things in the last project that we spoke about that we didn't go further on for different reasons. I love, because like his vision is about how can we disrupt and give power to the people that haven't got it, right? So they can create more for themselves, right? As opposed to this top-down system of wealth being redistributed, but not really. It's the ones who've got more are getting more. I'm not saying it's bad, right, or wrong, just saying what it is, right? You look at some of these huge companies, and they've grown hugely during this time. And you look at part of the world, mass of the world, that maybe hasn't fared so well. Now, I'm not a person of take from the rich, give to the poor. I'm not that person. I'm more of a, you know, how can we create a win-win, right? Where you create opportunities for everyone, effortlessly, including yourself. I come more from that mindset, which is why I love what you had to offer, by the way, brother. So completely led you in a certain direction, but giving you time to think about it. So what's your view of the world that you'd like to see? And how do you see your contribution to it if it's changing in any single way?
I would say personal accountability is one of them, and less entitlement. Is everybody's got to contribute, and it's not about the amount, it's about the what the person can do, but every person has to contribute based on their skills, their abilities, the set of cards they were dealt. Even somebody got dealt a bad hand, they should try to contribute with what they have. And when we operate from there, then there's no entitlement, and yes, some people are in need, they need to be helped, but that doesn't it's a different topic, but I think like I work hard for the money I make, and which makes me also want to work hard to impact other areas, which is, I think, the last thing you were asking is how I would like. I mean, number one is to lead by example. There are some people that I'm not smarter or stronger or anything. I just have follow a certain path, and I was consistent. So hopefully can inspire others. There's other people that maybe are in need, that they cannot do what I did. Well, it's great to help them, but that's not most people. I think most people can at least contribute with what they have. It's not a good strategy to feel helpless. There's always something you can do.
Got it, brother. Thank you. And so for those of you who are here, if you have any questions, you've got one microphone, right, which is rolling around. Just put your hand up if you have a question, because at the same time, I'd like to honor the people which are here and acknowledge them and to have a question, right? And that includes you, brother, over there. If you have a question, just put the hand up and we'll get the microphone to you. And these ones, stop playing with it. No, I'm joking. These ones here, just put it towards your mouth and speak. Sounds weird, I know, but some people don't do it. So the other thing that came in, Daniel, it was just there. What was it? Okay, we'll go with the other one. So, is there anything left for you to do? Remember, it's whatever is triggered by the question. So is there anything left for you to do? Could be in business, could be personal, could be family, could be something. But is there anything left for you to do?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. In all the areas that you mention it, at the end of the day is more about the journey, I think. So I want to continue growing my company as much as I can. If later on there's new opportunities to take in, just to have at the end of the day, try to have the beautiful life, the best story of my life, and hopefully can help a lot of people along the way.
Yeah. Well, you're doing that, my brother. Mentorship. So I'm not saying you would, but if there might be someone watching here saying, you know what, this guy, I like him. You know, I like his background. I like his determination. I like his grit. I like the fact that he speaks direct, that he's economical with his words and what he says he means, right? And by the way, I know English is probably your second or third or fourth language, so even more props to you, brother. My Spanish is awful. Italian's better. So so if somebody was looking at you saying, I would love to be mentored by Daniel, I'm not saying you will, not saying, don't call him and say, mentor me, Daniel. I'm not saying that, right? But what would you look for, the qualities of a person who would approach you for mentorship?
Well, number one, someone that is instead of trying to take, is trying to give. It's a different approach. And yeah, the second one would be somebody to actually have the guts to reach out. And if I'll help with what I can. There's a lot of things I still have to figure out. I think I've figured out already a few. Yeah. So, happy to share, whenever I can.
And by the way, I don't ask these questions, man. They drop in, and I ask them. What is, it's a crazy question, what is the hardest thing that you do, or that you have to do? The hardest thing, the thing you find the most difficult?
I would say, there is a lot of things that I don't know that I don't know. Yeah. So right now I say, well, raising a family is something I want to do. I don't know how difficult that is. There's probably some degree of difficulty in there. No? It's a piece of cake?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, so that's one thing I want. And also, business-wise, I want to dominate my industry. I want to I just want to, you were saying the word at the beginning, I want to disrupt the industry. I want to make a larger name for my company. I want that when people think about Amazon, they think about my agency. And I want it all to be add a lot of value to companies, maybe bigger companies, maybe more interesting companies. So, but it's all about adding value. I want it to be real. I don't just want it to be, because we have a good sales process.
Man, these questions are crazy.
Shoot away.
No, not so much a question. You have a question, brother, as well? Cool. You got your question, Ichi. So we've got 2 questions. Quickly before that, just want to say this. You know, I'm impressed by you, right? And here's why. So, which we haven't shared, but I had like a 15, 20-minute conversation with Daniel. That's it. That's all that we had. Everything else, there's nothing written down, there's nothing scripted, or I'm going to ask you this. It all comes up and I ask, right? Used to it now, it's been a few episodes, right? But one of the things that I'm really impressed about with you is like, and it's this story, you know, like, so we both come from a place which is an introvert, right? So whether you believe in me or not, or you, whatever, but that's what it is. And I had a tremendous problem speaking in front of people growing up. The whole way. I used to stutter, I used to suck these 2 fingers, which pulled my jaw down. So now when I close my mouth, my tongue still comes through. So I have a lisp, I have these biomechanical challenges to speaking clearly, and I was always very like scared about what I had to say, whether it's valuable or not. And so then I used to rush. So it's like a nightmare. It's like a perfect storm. But I kind of worked at it and got over it and got through it. So when you told me that, like, hey, you know, I realized that I need to be able to present, I need to be able to speak, and I know that I don't do it well. So I'm going to go and do Toastmasters. I love it. Because to me, like, that's a person who can become anything. And to me, that's the real inspiration with this whole thing. That's the inspiration, like a person who is willing and able to do the uncomfortable to become comfortable. And then be uncomfortably comfortable. So respect.
Thanks.
So welcome, my man. I just need to say that. Ichi, and then brother N. We're going to call him N.
Hi, Daniel. I just want to say thank you from Tropical Nomad for, you know, for us. You've been gracing this community, and then, you know, really even this, you know, difficult time, pandemic, you still stick with the, you know, still in Bali, and then we appreciate that you're here with us today. And my question is actually regarding your marketing strategy for your agency. So you're based in Bali, but then I believe your clients are all over, you know, different parts of the world, geography. And what is the best strategy for you in this time for marketing your agency as top Amazon marketer and strategist? And for example, do you use like personal branding, or do you have some sort of tips that you can probably share with those that are people like, you know, like yourself, just trying to be like starting up right now in this time? What will be your tips for them to you know, for their agencies or for their freelancing services to thrive in this time? Thank you.
Thanks. So the question is tips for market an agency during these times. And I would say being grassroots in terms of being reachable. So you mentioned it, personal brand. I think people want to do business with people, not with a brand. So definitely using the name. I use my name, photos of myself, and just being reachable, being personable. And whether I part of the entire sales process or not, I still trying to be involved to some extent. So I think people are or prospects in the topic of sales and marketing. Prospects are just tired of not just feeling that they're not doing business with other people. Rather is an agency, like a more like soulless agency, which something that I think you do very well here. Like, you're always here, you're approachable, you always have a smile. And something you said also earlier, that
I mean, you're also a very smart businessman. Like, you're the only co-work in Bali that, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you were open 24 hours, and it was it was a no-brainer to be part of Tropical Nomad. Nobody else was. I hope I didn't get you in trouble. So
I'm leaving. But you know what, though? Just to second what you're just saying, like, obviously, you know, we're here, and so this is almost 200 episodes, right? And we shot maybe almost 100 here. And, you know, I didn't decide to shoot it here because of the technical background, even though it looks a lot better than what we were doing before. I came here because of Ichi, right? I came here because I love his vision and his expansive vision for Bali and beyond. And we share many commonalities, right, in that particular area. And he's a guy who, you know, there's a lot of people here that can talk a good game. There's a lot of people here who can say that would do something in a certain situation. But there aren't that many who, if and when that situation arises, do as they said they were going to do. And he did. I won't tell you the situation. It's not valid now. But he did. And it was potentially going to put him in a lot of strife, but he still did it, and he's got kids, and you know, sorry, Kuni, how dare you, Ichi? Got kids? No, but like, he did it, right? And so those things combined, and the other thing is that he's got this amazing knack, which we laugh about, right, of doing things uncomfortable but necessary at the time, which then proved to be the right decision. Podcast room, back room, this room, like just the way, and again, like I know for him it's not any part of any crystal ball. I haven't seen one yet that he has, but for him, it's just that this is what needs to be done now. And no matter what, how difficult it is to do for different reasons, he's still prepared to do it. And these things I find to be, I'd say rare qualities. So I'll just add to what you were just saying.
Amen.
Amen, man. Ichi. God dang. All right. So I think you've answered his question, my brothers. So the other brother, Brother N.
What's up?
Brother N.
Okay. I'm gonna read off my iPhone. What did keep you going in like kind of dark times? You know, like you try something and then it fails. So it's like this, you sitting in the dark, everybody around you can't choose the easy way. As we know, they get government funds or they get a good job, and then you're sitting there, it's like, fuck, I failed again. What keeps you in the loop? It's like, what is the thing? But like, did you think, what is the drive? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna be rich later. It's not about this. It's like, what keeps you going in the moment? It's like a game for you, or addiction.
So the question is, what kept me going during time of struggle, failure?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a guy. There's a guy here.
No, but it's
who we should interview as well.
But that's a good thing to keep talk with people that love you. They keep you motivating.
Yeah, I would say number one is the environment. So I really cut out a lot of negative people in my life, and surrounded with people that you know, they may have not been very successful, but at least just like me, they were trying. Yeah. Joining that mastermind, for example, I mentioned it earlier, it changed my life. I made some of my best friends in life. I met them there, and we were all in the same hassle. Some of them were maybe ahead of others, but the impact of the inner circle or of environment is should not be ignored. So that, I would say, that's one thing, because maybe you had something that did not work, your business idea failed, but maybe your buddies did work this time, right?
Yeah.
And then that you can just maybe some of his excitement will you'll absorb it, and then that allow you to do the next thing.
If you, I was like, I realize sometimes like there's a lot of people they can't process that somebody else is faster, so then their ego comes in the way. It's like I don't like, you understand what I mean? It's like in order to do this what you did, you need to open yourself up to like respect it, or let's say like you process your failure in the moment. It doesn't make you a loser. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's unless you give up is
Exactly.
But then if you give up, then what happens next? Maybe you get a job if you want to be an entrepreneur, but if you failed and you give up, you get a job and perhaps you'll try again.
Yeah.
Right. So is yes, you can take one step back to then take 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
So, but the what we perhaps don't want is an ultimate. I give up. I'm just not gonna do anything else, which would be sad, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and also what I recognize many times, or like in my past, is like I want to ask you, you had moments where somebody came and give you the easy way. You understand what I mean? Hey, Chuck, just come here. Let's do it this way. Don't keep going. You understand what I mean?
Is you mean easy way in a good way or in a bad way?
It depends. Like I mean, if you know you could make a lot of money in this moment, but in the same time you know I mean, based on law it's okay, but it's like, let's say in Amazon, right? You're selling a product, you know, you hurt other businesses by you just knowing something more what they don't know, but you understand what I mean? It's
yeah, something black hat, for example.
Yeah, black hat, exactly.
So I mean, those actions, I think, they are not a business. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't last.
Exactly.
Even the small success they give you short term,
yeah,
is you cannot build a business off of that.
Yeah.
It will. It is. For example, instead of dealing with depression, started going for a drink, right?
Yeah.
Is just masking that pain or that depression is not addressing it. It's not fixing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's instant. People usually addicted to instant validation because they want to have the success done now, and then they take the fast way. But as you said, it's kind of pump and dump.
Right, and patience.
Yeah.
Patience. I mean, when you do something for I don't know, 3 years.
Yeah.
You gave it your best, and it did not. How long is enough to call it quits? I don't know, but probably more than a year. And if you gave it your best, right? There's a point where you can actually. But by that point, you learn so much that you change it and you pivot your business, and eventually you find something that works.
You know, there's two things. No, you're not done, man. It's okay. There's two things that come up, right? One is a friend, which we all know probably, Gil Petersil, right? Gil Petersil, networker, like extraordinary human being, business analyst, business coach, has made a lot of everything. I think was the largest local partner for Tony Robbins. Like he's an amazing guy, right? A great mate, a mentor, and all the rest of that. So what he calls it is a successful failure. So it's a concept of a successful failure. In other words, which is obvious, like it's a failure because you don't give up. It leads you to something else. Like, the guy who invented the light bulb, right? Thomas Edison. Oh, there's another way it doesn't work. Oh, great, I got rid of that one. And the Wright brothers and all this other, Branson and all these seminal figures who are amazing entrepreneurs, right? It's a successful failure. That's one. Number two, that I think is extraordinarily important, not to be glazed over, is this network of support. Right? So you said that you got rid of negative people out of your life, right? And you spoke about the mastermind group. And in there, you spent significant amount of money that people here will probably say, you spent how much? But then look what it gave you. right? And we spoke about our brother Echa over there. I love that guy too. But like, you know, people around you in your circle who not only about lifting you up, but supporting you in a sense of like being there, man. They understand successful failure. They understand that right now you may have a bad day, and this too shall pass. Right? They may be the guys who say, you know what, you look like a beer. You look like you need a beer. Let's go. Come on, man. Let's just put the work down. Let's just go have a beer. And just that mental space in your mind is enough to give you that re-inspiration, if there's such a word, to re-inspire you to go again. You know, and the other thing which I found, which is connected to spirituality, what I've noticed here in Bali, which I think this man can attest to as well, is that there's an energy here, as there is everywhere, but here it seems to be quite different. But even, you know, I like riding on the bike, go around somewhere. It's like when you're just in that space of just being, things drop in, ideas drop in, and you're not even thinking about them consciously, but they just drop in. And these are things which in the past I've actioned and had tremendous success with. But these are some of the things which I think are really powerful and important, and I just didn't want it to be glazed over. So Brother N, I know you've got some more questions there on your iPhone. Come on, brother. Let them go.
Oh yeah, so I met one time a younger person. He studied in Germany. In Germany it's like this: if you're very good in university, in school, then the political party, they finance you to go to the best university, and then they have always philosophical questions. And the one question what he asked me is, if you try to reach a goal, do you define the path where you go, or you just let yourself guide to the goal? So how you reach the goal, like you said, like, okay, I go this way, and you break down any wall, or you just let something just guide you? Because most people don't understand this was just a discussion. We don't really have an outcome, but we have an understand. I don't know. So it's like, I met one time a guy here. He said, it's a big producer from Canada, or he's a label, whatever. And he said, usually I turn off my phone and I just walk one direction, and he has the best experience because he can see if you try to reach the goal, you don't look in left and right, right? So would you agree in your journey that just by doing it and process the impact while you moving on, you can change directions? Make sense?
Yeah, that's a very, very nice question. So about allowing
impact,
not knowing all the turns you're gonna take.
Exactly. Yeah.
So because you have to turn
sometimes
so that you can see the next one coming up, right?
Exactly. And you can't really we can't predict the future in the sense of maybe you met tomorrow one guy you never would met if you wouldn't look there,
right?
Because you have this like central, yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's how I moved to Asia, and probably many people here. It's a similar story, right? Like at first you can't believe it. I moved to China first, and it was a very uncomfortable move. But it from when I did that, my business it really catapulted. You know, because I met people. I was also put in the work. You know, but I was. It opened so many doors for me, and I can see many decisions that I have made, and a lot of times it's just getting, like Rob said, getting comfortable with the uncertainty, right? As long as it's a step towards growth, not a step towards something destructive. You know, so if your intention is to grow, to succeed, and you don't need to know all the answers, right?
Exactly.
It's like the similar waiting for all the lights to be green to leave the house.
Exactly. So it's called like step out of the circle. Most people comfort, as you said before, most people comfort in the system what is prepared by, father state. He said, keep in this. In Germany, we always like stay in this environment. It makes you safe, but actually it's opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the comfort zone is this very dangerous thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Last thing, I saw a documentary in China or Japan, when kids are very young, their bones don't really break. And I think we talked about it. There's a kindergarten. They don't have any security measurements. So sometimes you see babies flying around from the 2-meter level, but they never break. So their body get adjusted to it. It's an experiment actually. And they have the lowest rate of be hurt in something. Instead, if you overprotect your kid, make sense? So,
right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Thanks.
Thanks for the contribution, brother. Man, welcome, brother. Yes. Maybe, is there anyone else here? Yeah. So we're going to swing this microphone across. Thank you.
Hey, Daniel. Question. When did you know that the idea that you had for your business, you knew that it was going to work? What was the moment? What happened?
When I started getting paid for it was one moment, and I'm talking very small contracts, like $1,000, $2,000 for a project. But the fact that people were willing to give me money was very reinforcing. And the second thing is, as I mentioned it earlier, my plan was sometimes I say yes to things I didn't know how to do. But my plan was, well, I'll keep the money, and if I can't deliver, I'll just give the money back, and maybe the project was done 50% through, so they would still win, right? But when I didn't have to give the money back because I was actually being able to deliver, that was very reinforcing. So I would say that early feedback, and I wasn't even a lot of money, but it was those early wins, and from there it just your confidence goes up, and you get better at it, and when you start charging more, even that's even more reassurance. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Any follow-up? No, you're good. Yeah.
I think the market is very educational, right? Like somebody willing to give you money for something it is an education that whatever you offer has value to that person, right? So that's why for a lot of new businesses that they get excited about their email list, like, oh, I just got 10,000 subscribers, but how many of them actually gave you money? Like, to me, that's the defining factor.
No, that's a great point. Thank you, brother, for the question. Value, yeah. So we swing it back over here. By the way, I knew you weren't done. I'm like, he's just getting started. I'm like, this is cool, but just hang there for a second. What was it? Yeah, so value, right? Value. So a lot of people may be asking, like, how do you know how much to charge for a service? Like, where did you start from? Because obviously, as you said before, we're talking about value, right? So in the beginning, maybe you're not quite sure. By the way, that's one of the first times I've heard anyone, right, actually save the money and not use it. So if it doesn't work, you give it back. Most people I know I need the money. I'm going to use it all. And, hey, if they need it back, tough luck. But you did it the other way, which I think is fascinating. But value, yeah. So how do you determine what to charge?
Well, the answer is there's no answer, right? Like, price is a lot about confidence and being knowing how much value you can add. But I can assure you that for most people here, no matter what business you do, you could raise your price 10% tomorrow, and probably you'll make more money. Like, nobody will. It is a confidence thing. So at the beginning, you will charge probably less just because you're building up that confidence, and a lot of the confidence comes also from your skill. Like, the better you get, but then I forgot who said this, but your confidence will never, your price will never be higher than your confidence. So would be maybe a good exercise, except for Ichi, because we use the space here. Don't raise your prices.
You know, it's funny because we've been talking a lot about this recently, actually, Ichi and I, about value, right? And that's latest post, which I did. Look, I won't go too deeply into it. Fine. A guy called Kai Jordan, right? Who you probably know. Kai Jordan is called the coach of now. I've known him for many years. We did a men's circle together for like 2 years. 100 men went through it or more. We were the guys who were holding the space. I started it, got him involved and a few other guys. So know him, know his work. The guy's brilliant. In the world of what he does, he's got to be one of the best ones, right? So we did this thing, and it's 3 parts to it. The first part was a Q&A we did last week. Incredibly inspiring. So if you're a man and you're interested in men's work, look at last episode. It's phenomenal. Part 2 is a masterclass that happens on Wednesday that you can still register for. It's free. It's called www.manofpresence.com. manofpresence.com. And that's a free Zoom, which you'll go through a lot deeper, like an interactive workshop, right? And then the following week, which is the 13th of October, my birthday, won't be working. 13th of October is like at the start of a 12-week course, which is paid, right? So he discovered this thing within me, which was growing up kids' homes, blah, 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 blah. The top priority for me was to be liked. That was my top priority. So what I did is I created win-win opportunities for everyone to get what they wanted, and in return I would be liked. So I got what I wanted, right? Later on, as the years rolled kind of by, what I realized was that when it came to money, what I would do is that I would fall into the same category of wanting to be liked more than having the money. So what would happen then is that I would not include myself in a deal. So I would create a win-win opportunity for everybody else. And then when it would come to me being paid, I would either undercharge or I wouldn't charge. I'd say, no, don't worry about it. Discounting. And where this came from was this wanting to be liked, right? So we overcame that one. So here's the point. So the access to remind me of who I am is this, right? So I am a man of presence. I create win-win opportunities for everyone, effortlessly, which is what I've always done, including myself. So now it's a conscious effort and reminder to include myself in a deal. So when it comes to value, I love what you said. It's about confidence, and your confidence will never outstrip, right, what you, in this case, we're calling it currency, but it could be anything. It could be, something else, right, that we swap in return for it. So this thing about value, I think, is so powerful and so important, and it's about, how confident we are with what we do and who we are. So it really can't be, overestimated or underestimated, should I say. So brother, if you can, maybe not now, but another time, help to enunciate that in a way that's even more powerful, I think it'll be really great, because I think people have got a lot to learn from you, and they would enjoy learning from you. Actually, you're a great teacher. So,
Thanks.
Brother, back to Brother N. Come on, brother.
Okay, I'm reading off my iPhone. We know that everybody desire to be someone, right? So with social media, we see there's some people that have a little introduction. I'm this. Why, I don't know. And back to you. If someone asks you who you are, would you label yourself to be this or that? If no, would you agree that it would limit your ability to grow if you label yourself? Make sense?
Yeah, so the question is if it's okay to label oneself, and if you will.
It's like this question: we're going out together drinking beer, and then I ask you, what you do in life. Most people, they're thinking they should answer. If they don't have an answer, they're nothing. Make sense?
Right. I think to answer the question, who are you?
Yeah. What do you think? If I ask you now, hey, what you working? Who are you? What you would say? I'm Amazon seller.
I think there's many answers, right? Because
Exactly.
I believe that we are what we do. We also are what we believe. We also are.
Yeah.
So it would probably be a conversation of, well, let's start with my name, and let's also talk about what I do. Let's talk about what I like. Let's talk about what I. So it's I don't think it would be a impediment to grow.
Yeah.
Rather, it's a good thing to know more about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember when I met you, I never was really sure who you are, but you're just a friendly person. I can have a good conversation. You know what I mean? So when we recognize, like, I enjoy it because if I approach a person and then the person, I'm this, then it puts myself already in a spot I wish to can explore it in another way instead of, okay, I see you as a whatever this person say. Makes sense a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's probably that other person forgot about the human element.
Yeah.
Right? Like at the end of the day, we're all.
So your approach is most likely like you're like, hey, let's have a conversation, learn like how you want to see me.
Yeah, and it's very funny when going to networking events.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so easy to see who has an agenda,
that's the point.
and it's so, in a way, it's funny to see how they struggle. By like, oh, who are you? What do you do? And then if they're not interested, they just like move on. But people can see through that. I think is a good time to to be real, right? To really connect.
Yeah. It's a big problem at the moment. I talked to my girlfriend yesterday about it, and she said the sad part, like, let's say one of her friends, she was entire life dancer, and every time somebody's like, oh, you're a dancer, yeah, I'm a dancer, but then it's time coming, she gets older, so who she is now, and then she struggles, so she become a healer or instantly, but she just do it because I think it's social pressure. It's like you need to be somebody, and that's why my question was like, I believe you, this person, you would say, hey, just know me, I have no problem to be nothing at the moment, but you can still, learn who I am. Make sense?
Right.
That was the approach I feel with you. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Like, you're also a very, very nice guy.
Thank you, Brother Nilsson. Appreciate it, man. So we're probably coming towards the end. So that last point, which is a great point, brother. There's a guy called Richard Harrington, who you know.
Yes.
You met the other day, right? So Richard Harrington, age of 24, was financially free, born in South Africa, and is working on a project right now to empower 1 billion people, 1 billion, with the tools for their own financial freedom. Because in South Africa, you're free politically, physically, but emotionally not free. There's still like an anchor there. Right? But what he says about this, which I really enjoyed, is that, like, we're not our emotions, but we have them. I am not this, but I do this. I am not that, but I experience that. But what I am is pure spirit. And pure spirit is unlimited, So he's not a woo-woo guy, by the way. He's like, woo-woo, we're in Bali, woo-woo. No, he's not. But I see not the logic, but I see the beauty in it of not having a label, right? So who are you is who I am right now, So who am I? I'm pure spirit. But who am I being right now? I'm being a person who creates win-win opportunities for everyone effortlessly, including myself. So it's like this
many answers, right? Like
big time on different levels, and you choose a level where you want to insert yourself and insert the answer. I think it's beautiful, man. It's a great point. And I agree with you that there's a shift going on now, regardless of whatever you believe. Doesn't really matter to me, but there is a shift in the world going on, and I believe that on certain quarters we are becoming more real, less bullshit. right? Less of, this is what I do, look at me, kind of egotism. Like, you know what I mean? There's more things happening now because I think people have been stripped back to a certain extent for whichever reason. However you want to convey that is up to you. But there's been a stripping back. You know, there's been this. Yeah, this. You mentioned before about gratitude. You know, I think a lot more people are grateful when you're locked down for a period of time in a flat in London, when you can't get out, and you get a chance to get out.
Right.
There's a bit more gratitude there.
Well, the internet also magnifies, like, people that are genuine. They can reach more people. At the same time, people that are, you know, fake or egotistical, they reach more people. So is sometimes like the sense of the world is changing is because of the internet. Sometimes it's not even because it's changing. It's just we just see more of it. What was already there, we see more because of the internet. So many broadcasts, so many Instagram lives, Facebook lives, Periscopes.
Love that Periscope. You crack me up. So listen, Daniel, what we're going to do, right, is that, so the way we end the show is, so what we do is that in about a minute's time or so, we give you the opportunity, the guest, to sum up something. Now, it can be in relation to the title, which again, you know, how do you create a 7-figure da-da-da-da from your bedroom? Could be that. It might be something that you've mentioned already or something that you haven't mentioned that you wanted to. Right. By the way, also give yourself a plug, name of your company, all of that. Please do that, right, as part of it. And so I'll give you that opportunity in about a minute or so. So just think of what that might be, see what drops in. Now, up until then, so as you know, SpeakuP Monday, we're here every Monday at Tropical Nomad, 6:30. Come early, right? Watch it live in this indoor-outdoor environment. So I really like the space itchy. It's got a really nice feel to it. And but we also have 3 streams a week minimum. This week we got like 5, crazy. So obviously Daniel, tomorrow morning, Clubhouse, 7 a.m. Now I'll be interviewing, it's a collective Q&A. I can't believe I'm saying this. His name is Armin Cooley, and he is basically the Black Panthers reincarnated, right? So his uncle was the original Black Panther who started the whole thing, and he has taken the key and is continuing it on. Black Panther movement. So this room tomorrow is called Equality versus, I've forgotten it. Equality, there you go. Equality versus unity. Thank you. Whew, almost forgot. So where the Black Panthers is at isn't about black people. It is, but it's about unity for all of us. He's a really fascinating guy. He sold 10 million records as a recording artist. 10 million records as a recording artist. This guy's phenomenal. So we're going to have this room tomorrow, which is talking about that, equality versus unity. It's going to be fascinating. Then later on tomorrow, that will be at 7 a.m. And then at 4 p.m., I'll be interviewing, you guys know Bowen Tanko from X to Exter. Which is a blockchain project, right, that's recently started. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. And then 6 o'clock, it's going to be Julian Ulig, we're here in Bali. So these are guys who form the fabric here of Bali. And we'll be talking about, so he's EX Venture, exventure.co. There you go. The other one is Exter.io, yeah, Exter Community. So that's tomorrow. And then lastly on Wednesday, it will be Kai Jordan again, who's a Zoom session that I mentioned earlier on, which is for men only. So you should really look into that. It's www.manofpresence.com to register for free. He's a phenomenal guy. So that will be this week. And SpeakuP Monday is all about, it's all about unity. It's all about people inspire people. It's all about inspiration is caught, not taught. And it's about seeing the beauty within all of us, that the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, that unity in diversity. So these are the things that sum up SpeakuP Monday and why I started it almost 3 years ago. It keeps on going, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So, Brother Daniel, I just want to thank you, brother, for saying yes. We had that 15-minute conversation. I was like, that guy, Daniel, You know, he's got something to him. I reckon he could spread some inspiration around, and you have. I think you're a phenomenal person, and there's so much more that I see you can offer. I just see other things with you, including what you're doing now. So I'll be really interested to see in the next 5-10 years where you land. You know. So, but thank you, brother, for saying yes, and thanks for being honest, open, and answering those questions as best you could. So, brother, over to you to close us out.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity, and you're an amazing example too of determination. Like, you do this every week, and you just never stop. So that's very remarkable, and part of why your audience and I think it's gonna lead you to a good place, and it is inspiring as well. You show up, you have amazing attitude, very friendly guy, so kudos to you as well.
Thank you, my brother.
And I would say, in terms of, so you want me to summarize a little bit of my perspective?
Whatever comes to you to talk about. It can be about Amazon, it can be not, it can be about both. It's up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just, along the lines of the title of the talk, I was broke a while ago, and started to, without knowing exactly how it was going to happen, that I would grow. I always kept on trying, and kept on learning, and I was also part of a trend, the e-commerce, the Amazon trend, and then I showed up. I showed up every day, just like you do here. So I think that is a formula for succeeding on many areas. And when it comes to Amazon specifically, like for anyone that is doing business with Amazon, I run amzclever.com. It's a done for you Amazon management agency, and anything I can do or help, I'll do what I can. Just, you can email me. My email is Daniel at amz or amzclever.com. And yeah, like I said earlier, I'll do what I can. And if a brand is looking for clever people to help with their Amazon, I mean, that's what we do.
Got it, brother. Got it, man. Thank you to Tropical Nomad, Itchy, Bella, Guzman and the team, and obviously Ayub. And thank you to you for coming, guys. So a round of applause. Thank you, Daniel. Respect.